Welcome to the final rounds of the MRO T3 Challenge. It's a pan-national programme today because we're going to be taking action in from both Brands Hatch here and up at Silverstone. The action from Brands will comprise the amazing Thunderbikes, huge grid of these glorious machines around the full Grand Prix circuit here at Brands, and then action from the Yamaha Past Masters. They'll be enjoying themselves going for the Paul Hogan Trophy and the Danny Whaley Challenge Cup, and then we'll have a look at Silverstone for the final rounds of the Triumph Triple Challenge, the TGG Cup and the Michelin Young Guns. Well, that's all ahead, but down here at Brands on the grid we have Michael Smith on pole and Tyler Streaky Bacon alongside him. It's the Yamaha Past Masters. There we see Mark Hardy carrying that number 1 plate, and 22 is Pat Heron, the outside of the front row. There, Jack Blake, the ex-Aprilia Super Team rider, as away they go. Jack Blake, yes, started the year as an Aprilia Super Team, still just 15, but got a chance, courtesy of Keith Roster, to have a go at the YPMs, and he's loving it. Superb performances in the last couple of events, but they stream through Paddock Hill Bend. Lovely after this, well, really rather soggy year of racing that we've had, to have some sunshine on the full Grand Prix circuit here at Brands at this time of year. There in the middle of picture number 5 going through in the all yellow leathers, Banana Man himself. It is the Colonel, Nick Sanders. Good to see him back here at the end of the year. And there's Chris Faulkner, 43 on one of only 2, I think, TDR 250s out there. But meanwhile up front, 57, the blue plate there is Michael Smith in the lead. And there we see Nick Sanders just ahead of Paul Welch. And there, further back, Dan Howden on the number 72 machine, and Tyler Bacon under pressure from Pat Heron. Pat making a great start from the outside of the front row of the grid. And here they come, look at this. Well, they really are spread out as they come up down the Brabham Straight, across the start-finish line, and up into Paddock Hill Bend. Of course, carrying a lot more speed into Paddock, coming off the Grand Prix loop as they do. There we see Jack Blake just into Druids, and Keith Royster, number 27 there. Keith, who I reckon had his best racing season so far. Lots and lots of finishes in the top 3. Pat Heron just nipping up inside Tyler Bacon to take second place, and Mark Hardy in 4th there on the number 1 machine, and Jamie Cooper at number 86 chasing hard as they run up the hill. 94 further back, that's Craig Jennings. It was Craig Mamo Jennings last year, but he's dropped the Mamo, slightly easier for commentary purposes. But there's Michael Smith. Pat Heron, though, up into 2nd. Tyler Bacon in 3rd. Number 1, Mark Hardy. Then it's Roy Parbury and Jack Blake, and that is, well, a good demonstration of the spread, certainly in age and experience, that you get in YPMs. Roy Parbury, the father of Mark Parbury, is racing the EDI Asia 400s, and young Jack Blake, there he is, a 15-year-old, just grown a little too big for the Aprilia Super Teams, but he's loving his rides on the YPM. And then we see Roy and Jack coming up to complete another lap, chasing Mark Hardy. Mark, who's now wrapped up the YPM Championship for 2008, that's why he's carrying the number 1. Here he comes towards us, the green meanie, and absolutely loving his number 1 plate. He really has worked hard for it this year, and excellent, well-deserved success for him. But look at this, Roy Parbury and Jack Blake closing in, and behind that looks like Pete Fishwick leading the rest. There we see the Colonel. Stand by your beds. Yeah, he's just come back from the jungle, a long tour that's taken most of the year. There goes Michael Smith, followed by Pat Heron and Tyler Bacon. Tyler, of course, an ex-champion in YPMs. Streaky won it a couple of seasons ago. There, now look at this, Roy Parbury, and goodness me, Mark Hardy just, well, he's succumbed to Roy Parbury, and Jack Blake's all over his case as well. Fantastic performance from the 2 of them. Their little battle has taken them right up to the champion. We'll see whether they can both get by. Pat Heron crossing the line there, trading fastest laps with Michael Smith, but Michael just with that gap ahead. And there we see also the red and yellow striped slippery surface flag being held out at paddock. I don't think that's necessarily for oil or any fluid dropped. It's most likely somebody just putting a couple of boots in the gravel and dragging a few stones back on. And there we see Keith Royster on number 27 getting up alongside John Parbury. John, another member of the Parbury family. I think he's a brother actually of Roy. And Ben Miles chasing hard there. And there's Streaky Bacon. Tyler running up through Surtees. Oh, and somebody parked it on the grass there and yellow flags. It's Pat Heron. And that's not a mistake. It's the machinery that's cried enough. Poor old Pat. He was, as I say, setting those really, really quick laps in second place, chasing hard after Michael Smith. But that has come to naught. So Pat's charge is parked at Surtees. And then we see, oh, Jack Webb just ahead now of new champion Mark Hardy. And there we see the Colonel chasing after the troops. He will be doing a kit inspection later, I've no doubt. So they better be spruced and standing to attention. There we see Roy Parbury in third place, followed by Jack Blake, then champion Mark Hardy. And there they are on to the Brabham Straight. And the last lap flag being held aloft by Air Chief Marshal Jeffers as Michael Smith moves up into Druids. Got himself a very handy lead indeed, and unless something drastic goes wrong, Tyler Bacon goes through in second. And Roy Parbury, look how he's got away from the battle behind, but Mark Hardy coming back at Jack Blake. Jack's still there in fifth place. Got around about 3/4 of a lap of the race left to see if he can nick fourth as Michael Smith runs through Surtees. Where's Streaky? There he is. Tyler Bacon in second, the long run up the hill. Well, Michael Smith still with the lead and the fastest lap of the race so far, and running up into Druids. There, 41 Chris Rankin being chased by Peter Wright and Paul Norris. That's Paul Norris on the other of the TDR 250s. But up the front it is Michael Smith, just gently easing there through Sheen Curve and down to the dished left-hander at Stirling's. Well, pole position, fastest lap, and now cruising to what looks like a very good win indeed. There's Pete Fishwick further back, negotiating Sheen. But nothing much he can do about the battle ahead of him between Mark Hardy and Jack Blake. And there, Michael Smith looking for the others, but there's the checker flag, the win to Michael Smith. And Jack Blake still working as he comes off clear ways. I don't think he's going to find a way through. So Tyler Bacon picks up second ahead of Roy Parbury. And Jack Blake, well, he's furious with himself, but he needn't be. Lovely race from him. And the winner of the Norfolk Line Yamaha Pass Masters, Michael Smith. Second, Tyler Bacon. Third, Roy Parbury. Fourth, Mark Hardy. Fifth, Jack Blake. And sixth, Pete Fishwick. And there, Cal Hogan presenting the Paul Hogan Trophy to the winner, Michael Smith. And there, Chloe presenting the Danny Whalen Challenge Cup to Tyler Bacon in second place and leading TZR home. And third overall went to Roy Parbury. Very happy Roy. Congratulating the others.
Roy, third place, but a bit of a lonely ride for you in that one.
Yes, I mean, to start with, I had somebody to chase. I had Mark to chase. He's just been crowned the new champion in our class, so, you know, to beat him was good. I mean, I love the GP circuit here at Brands, and somehow, I mean, yesterday I looked at the times and I should have been about sixth, so I've actually done well to be third. And I think the secret was to put new tyres on for today, which is what I did.
All right, well, it was a brilliant race to watch. Good to see the Yamaha Pass Masters out there. Well done.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to my engine tuner, Stan Stevens, because I've had a completely reliable year. Fantastic.
Well, we've got to say thanks to Stan, otherwise you won't get engines next year.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I was pleased with that overall. Got off to a good start, and I was battling with Mike and Pat for a couple of laps. Once they got past me, I just couldn't stay with them on the straight. Felt I was quicker through the Grand Prix part of the circuit, but just not enough to make it count on the straight. So just trying to not outride myself and bring home the third place. And then, unfortunately for Pat, he broke down on about lap 4, I think it was. So just bring home second.
Mike, overall race winner, picking up that Paul Hogan Trophy as well. Very emphatic win.
Yeah, it was a good ride for me. I set consistent laps and managed to stay in the front. Shame for Pat as he broke down in the race, but yeah, just a big thanks to Jerry, Pal and everyone and all my sponsors, and a big thanks to my dad for getting me here. Cheers.
Jack Blake, we're normally used to seeing you in the MRO Super Teams, but having a one-off ride on the Yamaha, how did that come about?
I don't know really. I know the past masters through the club and through my girlfriend Chloe, and then they offered me a ride, and then I rode it at Snet as well as the Aprilia, and then they offered me to ride it at Brands GP, and I said yeah, and then looks like I'll be on them next year.
What's it like riding a bike that was built before you were born?
Yeah, they've actually mentioned that a few times. Yeah, it's alright. It handles not as well as the Aprilia, but it's pretty much the same, just a bit faster.
Well, after the break, we take a trip up the motorway to watch the final rounds of the Triumph Triple Challenge at Silverstone. Where the Triumph Triple Challenge is on the support bill for British Superbikes for their last rounds. And a great turnout for the Triumphs. This is their temporary garage for the weekend. We took the opportunity to talk to one of the series regulars, Paul Marks.
It's a kind of comeback year for me. I've been off for about 4 years. First time on a smaller bike as well, so first time on a 600 bike. But it's very enjoyable and it's a great championship. And it's very, very competitive, as you've seen today.
The whole thing about this series is that it is a sort of entry level to racing for anybody out there that's interested in getting involved in racing. You know, people like yourself, okay, so you're not winning races, okay, you might be at the back quite often, but it's the enjoyment factor.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not only that, I think if you're going to start out in racing, we're better to do it where everybody's on the same bike, everybody's on the same tyres. It's a great feel in the paddock as well. And cost-wise, it's very, very competitive.
And the other thing is, the surprise was that you're racing in front of a capacity British Superbike crowd.
Yeah, that's very true. That wasn't there at the start of the season, and this is our second of the year, so it's been fabulous to ride at BSB. I mean, you don't often get to say that, so no, it's been fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
Olivia, you're here, it's the last round of the Triumph Series, and Michelin very heavily involved. Has it been a good series for you?
It's been a really good series. We've been working with the Triple Challenge Triumph for 2 years now, and we came a long way, and I'm very pleased about the season. Yeah.
Well, goodness me, where's Gordon? I can see Bennett's, but all right. Those the grid girls, and these the grid. Josh Wainwright, number 55, a very good pole position. 10-lap race ahead of him. Yes. Morning, Josh. Looking forward to this. Able Services Limited on the machine. Alongside him, Lance Carey, and then Mark Cheetham. Morning, Mark. And Tom Fisher. Tom, one of the real big improvers on the Church Wharf Garage supported machine. And there, over from Ireland, good to see him. John Simpson, not seen him on the Triumphs before, alongside John Mark Kringle. Tim Venables, and on the outside of that second row, Scott Roadbottom. Third row, very interesting as well. We have Danny Inberg, David Jones, Jack Sim and Cy Langford. Well, Jack Sim leading the TGG Cup points coming into this weekend, but up the front it is lights out time and away they go, and a good start from Lance Carey, second on the grid, and Josh Wainwright trying to hang it on all the way around the outside of Copse. Here you see that vast runoff area now, courtesy of Formula 1, of course, on the outside of Copse Corner, and they run up the little rise down to Maggots and then into Beckett's using the international circuit here at Silverstone this weekend. What does that mean? It means you get the wiggly bits in. This is the left, right, left before they charge down towards Abbey Corner. When they get to Abbey, they'll be turning right back up towards the bridge and then into what is effectively the stadium section here at Silverstone. The combination of corners of Bridge, Brooklands and Luffield and out onto Woodcote. And there you see the Triumph field there, Ralph Turco trying to nip up the inside just ahead of David Jones. Around they come now. They're into this stadium complex. Great viewing from the spectator grandstands around the outside, and it's Mark Cheetham that leads. Behind him is Josh Wainwright. Mark Cheetham second in the TGG Cup, and Josh Wainwright second in the Michelin Young Guns coming into this last weekend of the season. So both of them need to win their respective parts of this championship in order to be champions themselves. So doing exactly what they need to at the moment. Cheetham it is. Into Copse. Josh Wainwright closing on him. And look at that. Jack Sim, we can see there in 5th place. Basically, Jack leading his side of the championship, the TDG Cup coming into this weekend. He just needs to stay somewhere glued as close as he can be to Mark Cheetham. Cheetham it is, leading. Josh Wainwright wants the points for the outright win, so he and Mark absolutely together as they run once again down through that international section of the track down towards Abbey. Lance Carey, after another good qualifying performance, in 3rd place. And there, Josh Wainwright just nipping by underneath Mark Cheetham there, takes the lead overall. So, well, doing just what he needs to do. Mark Kringle leading the Michelin Young Guns on points, but Josh Wainwright simply has to win both the races here, and he could just nick the championship from Mark Kringle as far as Michelin Young Guns are concerned. And Mark Cheetham now in 2nd. Well, what Mark Cheetham has to worry about is where is Jack Sim? Well, Jack's still there in 5th behind Lance Carey and Tom Fisher. They're in 3rd and 4th places overall as they run into the sunshine out onto Woodcote. And then through this real, talk about flip-flop chicane. This is the club chicane here, right by the BRDC clubhouse. And, well, they really do have to sit up and beg to get through there, but it does slow them up and significantly decreases the danger that was the old Woodcote corner. And there, Jack Sim, just having a look at running up the inside at Copse of Lance Carey. And up that little slope towards Maggots they run. Josh Wainwright herring away at the front still. Mark Cheetham there in 2nd place, but Josh, well, looking very confident at the moment. And Mark Cheetham coming under some pressure now from Tom Fisher. And Lance Carey, well, he's got right back up to Tom as well, and having a little dip there as they run into the stadium. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th absolutely together, but still that little bit of a comfort between 1st and 2nd for Josh Wainwright as they run down under the bridge. Then the gap back now. This will be very encouraging as far as Mark Cheetham's concerned. Did he but know it? Bit of a dive there down the inside. We'll have to see if that comes off, because there, well, Lance Carey just squeezing ahead of Tom Fisher, and Tom losing out there. So Mark Cheetham, then Lance Carey, and then Tom Fisher. That's that little group. The contents remain the same, it's the order that changes. But as far as Mark Cheetham's concerned, this is all good news, because he's got these riders between himself and Jack Sim, the points leader in the TDG Cup. Josh Wainwright through. Lance Carey in 2nd place. Mark Cheetham now in 3rd. And away up towards Maggots they run. Tom Fisher still now back on the case of Mark Cheetham as they run down into Beckett's. And we'll just try and pick up behind them where we see Mark Kringle. Now Mark has to get past these three and get in touch with Josh Wainwright up the front. Mark leading the Michelin Young Guns, but at the moment Josh running away with the points in the lead of this. And further back we can see Tim Venables leading the pack in 6th place. But this time of the season, well, there's always two things to look for: the race in front of you on the road, and of course the race for the championship. And in the case of the Triumphs, that means 2 championships in 1. So there we see Lance Carey just pulling away from these 3 now, so a little bit more of an advantage as far as he's concerned. And Mark Kringle closing, he's right on the back of that group, but look at Josh Wainwright flying there. I think that's Paul Marks that he's just passed, and hard right down towards the club chicane. There, the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th now, and Lance Carey charging up into the chicane, and here comes that wonderful battle behind, and then you see the pack's not that far away, and there's a bike off in the background there as they power up to the start-finish line. There's Lance Carey crossing ahead of and that's Josh Wainwright. Josh Wainwright was the bike that went down on the outside of that chicane, so he's blown it from the lead on his own, under really no pressure directly, but just the pressure that goes on inside the helmet. He was up there for the championship, and that will surely ruin his chances. What a terrible shame for young Josh. Well, one person's disaster. It rather throws things into a different light for Mark Kringle, leading in the Michelin Young Gun points, and now with his closest rival having chucked it up the road, there we see Mark Kringle just ahead of the Trick Bits UK triumph of John Simpson, and there binning it is Lance Carey. Oh, sliding out of that one. He was having such a good race as well. Oh dear, that's the long march. And up the front, well, battle rejoined. I tell you what, John Simpson over from Ireland, and he's really getting his face in amongst this lot. Still Mark Cheetham at the front of them, but also now at the front of the race because they keep chucking it off ahead of him. And look at that, John Simpson squeezes by up the inside. I don't think Mark Cheetham was expecting that. John Simpson said, go on mate, eat that. There we are, a few exclamations in the pit lane. That'll be a very unhappy Josh Wainwright. That's an end to his championship, I'm sure. Well, still another race to go, but self-inflicted wound if ever there was one. There we see Tom Fisher still working hard, chasing after Mark Cheetham. But up the front, spectacular effort by John Simpson. Talk about coming from nowhere. He loved a bit of that. That was great. And an excellent win. First time on the triumphs for John Simpson from Mark Cheetham, Tom Fisher. Mark Kringle was 4th, Jack Sim 5th, and Danny Imberg rounds out the top 6. Well, now, straight into the triumph, straight on top of the podium. He'll love that. John Simpson wins the Michelin Young Guns. Tom Fisher was 2nd. Mark Kringle finishes 3rd and wins the Michelin Young Guns Championship, ahead of Tim Venables in the race, then Scott Robot on 5th, and David Jones in 6th. A very happy podium. We talk to the champion.
Well, that was a result that you were looking for.
Yeah, definitely made a probably the worst start of the season so far. Real slow through the first corner, seeing all the oil down and that, so made a mess of the first lap and was scratching to get back, gradually getting back onto them and that, and then I seen Josh go down, so things started going through the head and that, and then started running wide, and then then Lance went down, so I thought let's keep it safe and get the finish away there, and got the championship finally.
And in the TDG Cup class, the win in the end going to Mark Cheetham from Jack Sim and Danny Imberger. Jack Sim doing enough to win the TDG Cup. Ralph Turco was 4th, Richard Green 5th, and Ben Cater 6th place. So a race winner in Mark Cheetham, but a championship winner. Well, there will be one in Jack Sim, just finishing 2nd there.
It was a really hard race. I needed to get the 2nd place to secure it. But it was a real hard fight, and there's plenty of times where I felt like I was pushing it quite hard, and never know, worst could have happened, could have come off. But exchanging a few positions, but it was an excellent race at the end of the day, and a good way to round it up.
Well done to Jack. We'll be back in a few moments with the final race of the 2008 Triumph season from Silverstone. Anything to say, Ralph? Welcome back to Silverstone, the final round of the Triumphs, and earlier we had a chat to two of their main sponsors.
We as a business, we launched in the UK in 2002, and it's been a fledgling business, but it's grown very fast. And so I feel like there's some sort of affinity really with the way the Triumph Triple Challenge has started. It was a relatively sort of low-key series, and it's building fast, and so I suppose there's an affinity there really.
It's been an excellent season. It's been moved on considerably from last year. Last year was the first round of this T3 Championship, and it's amazing how it's moved on. The number of riders, the organisation, and the general level of interest seems to have increased enormously. So we've had a good year with it. Enjoyed it very much.
So have we. It's been a great year, a second year for the Triumphs, and there for the last race of 2008, Josh Wainwright on pole position, Lance Carey really up for this, and Mark Cheetham, as long as he can get his eyes pointing the right way, third on the grid, and Tom Fisher on the Church Wolf Garage machine once again. There we see Andy Shim, Andy on the First Response Finance bike further back on the grid, and away they go for the last time this year into Cops Corner they pile, and wonderful start there by Tim Venables, chasing hard. I think he's up to second place. Oh, and already there's a bike down now. Oh, that's Nick Blockley. He was 15th in the earlier race, but only got as far as the first corner in this one. Up the front, though, it is Mark Cheetham that leads from Tim Venables and Tom Fisher. And there we see our two new champions, Mark Kringle just squeezing ahead of Jack Sim. So it's Michelin Young Gunners winner just ahead of the TDG Cup Championship winner there. There's the two of them. Ooh, and Jack Sim trying to come back at him as they come down from the bridge into Brooklands. Then he tries up the inside, and that time it works. So Jack Sim up behind Tom Fisher now. Tom Fisher behind Tim Venables. Oh, but Jack Sim, he's on a bit of a champion's charge now, but he was horribly wide there, and it puts him offline for the second element of Luffield, and well, they come down into the chicane. Remember, Mark Cheetham still up the front. There's Tim Venables in second place. Tom Fisher, look at Jack Sim now. He's almost taken out the pack, but luckily misses everybody. Comes in just alongside Scott Roadbottom. Oh, Jack. It all went wrong there for a dilly moment, but up the front, still Cheetham from Venables. Jack Sim once again taking a different line this time through Cops Corner. That comes to naught, but all a bit wild and woolly at the moment there. Mark Kringle, the Michelin Young Guns champion on number 37, and Tom Fisher there chasing hard after Tim Venables. So Tim and Tom and Mark Kringle, the three leading Michelin Young Guns as far as this race is concerned at the moment, but it's one of the older riders, the TDG Cup runner Mark Cheetham, who leads this. And look there, just behind those three young guns is John Simpson. John is also one of the young guns in this, won the earlier race, remember, and after not perhaps the best of starts, he's made his way right up onto the tail of that little gang of three, and having a look down the inside there, can't quite make it stick. But John Simpson this weekend, his first rides in the Triumph Triple Challenge, and he's certainly made an enormous impact so far. That little group as well, just towing themselves back into touch with the leader. Mark Cheetham was well away with this over the first couple of laps, and they've now really pegged him back and got him in sight. Scott Roadbottom there just moving up a place as they dive into the club chicane. So Scott getting up ahead of John Simpson, and not too far behind them Josh Wainwright, who, whatever happens, he wants to stay on board and finish this one after his sad outing earlier on, bidding it while in the lead. So Cheetham still up the front, but look at Tom Fisher. Well, I've been saying a number of times that he's one of the more improved riders over the season, and look at this, he's really eaten up that gap back to Cheetham and closing him down as they run onto the international section of this circuit. It is called the international circuit, but this is the section that runs from Beckett's to Abbey, which extends the track from being the national circuit. And Tom Fisher, this is a fantastic performance, and he's up into the lead. And look at that. Having got past Mark Cheetham, he's now back Mark Cheetham right up towards the pack. And Tim Venables is now on Mark's case as well. Keep your eye on Tim. He's got the yellow crash helmet on there in third place. Easy to pick him out, but what a wonderful performance so far. And there, Mark Kringle just moving up into third ahead of Tim Venables as they all chase hard after the leader, Tom Fisher. Oh, Mark Kringle still in the wheel tracks of Tom Fisher up the front. There's Mark Cheetham just ahead of Scott Rowbottom. Scott really putting the pressure on now. Tim Venables tucked in behind Scotty. And there we see TGG Cup champion Jack Sim. He's at the back of that battle, but it is still an excellent lead at the moment from Tom Fisher, dragging through Copse Corner, up that slight rise towards Maggots and then down towards Beckett's. And there, well, Mark Kringle trying to get in touch, and still Tom Fisher just repelling borders there, keeping him back. But the two of them look slight breakaway. Kringle is on a charge and he really fancies a piece of this, and I think he knows that he should have the beating of Tom Fisher. You can see he fancies got the speed everywhere, and look at that, just gently up the inside as they run down towards Abbey and up towards the bridge. So beautifully done. Mark Kringle takes the lead. Tom Fisher tucks in behind him. Still the two of them with that little bit of advantage back to the pack as they run down through Brooklands and into Luffield. A couple of slower riders to deal with, and that's going to mean those behind probably will have the chance to close in on them. And sure enough, there they are. It's not that far back, is it? And Scott Rowbottom has managed to squeeze by up into third place, so he is carrying the charge to the two leaders at the moment as they come into this really tight club chicane. And look at Scott Rowbottom. That gap has just simply dissolved, and he's absolutely flat on it as they're onto the start-finish straight once again. So Kringle, Fisher, Rowbottom and Scott. I thought he was going to give it the big one there, but just backed out of that. Mark Cheetham in the middle of that chasing group behind, but there's Mark Kringle. He's, as far as he's concerned, head down and gone at the moment. Oh, but look at this. Our three leaders absolutely as close as you like as they run down lefts, the rights. These are the very challenging twisty bits that lead onto this newest of the pieces of circuit really at Silverstone, down towards Abbey. And Scott Rowbottom, well, now then. Oh, goodness, what on Strictly come diving. What on earth was all that about? Well, red flag's out. I can tell you what it was about. There's drops of rain falling. You can see them on the lens there, and it's just on that side of the circuit at the moment. And 1, 2, 3, down they go. Absolutely skittled. Good to see them all get up and walk away from that. So that left us with Mark Cheetham taking the win from Danny Inberg. Tim Venables was third, John Simpson fourth, Josh Wainwright fifth, and Jack Sim in sixth place. Well, an unsuspecting Mark Cheetham there, perhaps taking that win in the TGG Cup from Danny Inberg. Jack Sim, the champion, was third, Ralph Laturco fourth, Ben Cater fifth, and Richard Green in sixth place. Mark Cheetham grabs his trophy. Yay!
Mark, last race of the year, it finished well.
Yeah, well, only just on that last lap. I had a couple of slides the lap earlier, and on the last lap I was just going backwards, but luckily, well, not unlucky for the guys that come off, they hit rain at the bottom end of the circuit, and no one saw it coming, and everyone just went flying. And I was looking at them going, oh, I picked up a few places again, and then had a massive night near high side.
Well, the Triumph Triple Challenge TDG Cup, the final championship points give the win to Jack Sim. From Mark Cheetham, Ralph Laturco, Ricky Chadwick was fourth, Paul Hughes fifth, and Ben Cater sixth. And David Garman, the CEO of TDG, presents Jack Sim with the trophy. And with those three Michelin Young Guns just sliding off there, the win in the Young Guns goes to Tim Venables from John Simpson, a good second, Josh Wainwright, a consolation third, Lance Carey fourth, Shane Pearson fifth, and Rhys Rothwell in sixth place. And enjoying that win, a very happy Tim Venables.
So, back on the old winners' podium again.
Yeah, it's. I think last time I was on it was Brands, and it's been a while, but I've had some good results up until now, and I just kept my head down. Wanted to finish, I've done some crashing, so to get a finish and to get on the top step of the podium was good, because I've seen lots of rain spitting down. Thought, got to try and be smooth and make sure you don't fall off, really.
So the final points for 2008 for the Michelin Young Guns. The winner, Mark Kringle from Josh Wainwright. Tim Venables was third, Scott Rowbottom fourth, Lance Carey fifth, and Tom Fisher finished sixth. And there, the leading young gun, Mark Kringle, gets his trophy from the man from Michelin, Oliver Grove.
Well, Tony, it's all come to an end here at Silverstone. The championship is done and dusted. What a great place to finish as well.
It's like it was back in May. That was our first opportunity to appear at British Championships. To be invited back again is really a measure of just how successful the championship has become. So for the boys to once again be back in front of the crowds, to be crowned champions in front of those crowds, and for the rest of the paddock to see the quality of the championship, it's a perfect end to the season.
David Garman of TDG trying out next year's model. Maybe sponsoring Minimoto, who knows. We'll be back after the break with all the action from Thunderbikes at Brands Hatch. Back at a sunny Brands Hatch, the 2008 season for the MRO draws to a close. It's Thunderbikes up next. Gary Budgeon on pole position. There's Russ Joyner, number 55. Then Simon Pato, number 99. And on the outside of that front row, we have number 5, Phil Reed. You will notice that the bikes, as well as carrying their main numbers, are also carrying a little number 39. And that is to honour the memory of Giles Fairclough, lovely chap and a great competitor in Thunderbikes. Sadly lost his life a week or so ago after an accident on a track day at Cabell Park. But away they go. The Thunderbike riders pouring into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. They had a 1-minute silence before their warm-up this morning, again in memory of Giles. And Simon Baggett, you'll see his Yamaha out there. He'll be carrying the number 39 through these races as well, again to honour the memory of Giles Fairclough. But up the front, all away well through Surtees they run, up the hill onto the Grand Prix loop. Thunderbike's been a superb championship all year, and just sealed in the last race the win by Gary Budgeon. But Simon Pato hits the front, and Sheen Curve being chased hard by Russ Joyner. Simon Pato, who could well have been the champion this year, but he had to miss a few rounds after injuring both wrists in an accident just a few events ago. And he's come back well though, and leading this at the moment. But, right up alongside him, goodness me, Simon Pato and Russ Joyner just going for the same piece of tarmac. They rather shocked each other. Gary Budgeon trying to get up in between them. There we see a little further back James Hutchins, the brother of Piers Hutchins. Piers, a regular runner in this series. James, who's been racing, I think, in the World Endurance Championship, coming back to join the series at Brands. Simon Pato chasing up once again through Sheen. Look at Gary Budgeon chasing there. And in third place is Phil Reed and Steve Palmer. Beg your pardon, fourth place, Phil Reed. Steve Palmer there in fifth. Steve on his 400. And having an outing in the Thunderbikes, even though he's competing in the EDI Asia Formula 400 Championship. In fact, wrapped up second in that championship this weekend. But Simon Pato under serious pressure. And Phil Reed on the Virus, this unique machine. He's up into third. He's got ahead of Gary Budgeon. So, well, at the moment we've got 5 different manufacturers represented in the leading 5 there. And a wonderful battle for the lead. Simon Pato just holding it around Druids. And there, well, a little further back, 32, that's Anthony Clark. There's Phil Smith and Gary Jones just going into the hairpin. They'll be loving this. Well, all the riders will love it on the full Grand Prix circuit here at Brands, and Russ Joyner up the front, Simon Pato. Now look, Gary Budgett just getting back ahead of Phil Reed and Steve Palmer tucked in behind them. Phil Reed there in fourth on the Virus, just having a little look down through that dish left-hander at Sterling's, can't quite find a way through, and Steve Palmer tries to get up alongside him, that doesn't work. Well, Phil Reed on the Virus. Phil Reed, of course, the son of Phil Reed, former multiple world champion. I've had the pleasure of his company 3 or 4 times this year. He pops up to commentary boxes. I spent the afternoon of MotoGP at Donington up in the commentary box with Phil Reed. He was giving his advice to 1-0. Smashing chap, loves watching his son race this unique Virus machine based on a Ducati, but it's got all sorts of bits specially manufactured and is something of a success. This was supposed to be a trial year, see how it went, but he's picked up a lot of wins throughout the year. They're running up onto the Grand Prix loop again, up that steep rise, the little Kawasaki 400 of Steve Palmer. Simon Baggett there on the number 39 machine. That is the 39 number of Giles Fairclough. Sadly no longer with us, but remembered by one and all throughout this entire race meeting. There the Virus of Phil Reed in 4th place. Gary Budgett though, look up into 2nd. He's got ahead of Simon Pato, and it's still Russ Joyner on the Laverda that leads. The Honda of Gary Budgett in 2nd. The Virus of Phil Reed just chasing hard after the Suzuki of, goodness me, of Simon Pato. Nearly had him, but Simon Suzuki just holding 3rd as they run across the line. So then it's the Virus in 4th place, the Kawasaki in 5th place, and this is Thunderbikes all over. 5 different riders, 5 different machines in the top 5, and all running substantially on the same pace. Fantastic stuff. Adam Paulfran there, just ducking up the inside ahead of Simon Baggett at Druids. Meanwhile, up the front, Russ Joyner. This really has been his best weekend of the year on the Laverda. Here we see Simon Pato in 3rd, still got Phil Reed and Steve Palmer for close company. And there, well, coming up into Sheen Curve, we see Simon Baggett just ahead of Paul Martin. That is, in fact, the battle for 7th. Down they go into Sterling's, and I think Paul Martin just getting the better of Simon Baggett there. And yes, it is. He leads under the bridge in that for that 7th place. There we see Steve Waterhouse, Adam Paulfran, and Joe Duggan. Joe running around the outside of Adam Paulfran there, but Adam just regaining that place. And as they cross the line, Simon Baggett once more powering that Yamaha back up into 7th place. So lovely battles going on right the way down through the field. There we see Baggett, Martin, Waterhouse, Joe Duggan, this time getting ahead of Adam Paulfran. But now, with half a lap to go, it's still the Laverda of Russ Joyner ahead of that Honda of Gary Budgett. Then it's Suzuki Simon Pato ahead of the Virus of Phil Reed, and the Kawasaki Steve Palmer on the back of the group, charging down through clearways and onto Clark Curve for the last time. Gary Budgett, the new champion of Thunderbikes, but nothing he can do about the Laverda. Superb win for Russ Joyner, and he will love that. Gary Budgett 2nd then, and Phil Reed on the Virus in 3rd, ahead of Simon Pato, Steve Palmer, and James Hutchins running out that top 6. So, an excellent win for Russ Joyner there from champion Gary Budgett, and in 3rd place, Phil Reed.
Well, famous name in 3rd position. Phil, brilliant ride.
It was an exciting race. I was pretty much watching the 3 in front knocking lumps out of each other, and there were some good tussles around the back happening, and I think I was probably lucky on the last corner I think Simon must have missed a gear, and I was there to take advantage of it. But, you know, the Auto Performance Virus is running really well, and, you know, the team worked really hard this morning to make some improvements over yesterday, and I'm pleased it really worked. So.
Yeah, it is a really interesting bike. So what's it like to ride?
When you're going through a corner, it feels pretty much the same as any normal bike, how you would ride it, but it's very stable. But the thing to get your head around is when you brake, it doesn't dive. When you've been riding a bike for 25 years with diving forks, it takes a bit of getting used to. But I'm a convert. I wouldn't want to go back. We just got to prove it to everybody else now.
Has your dad had a go on it?
Not yet, no. I think he's been hanging around with his helmet in his hand, ready to stand in and tell me what's wrong with it. Yeah.
Gary, that was a great five-way scrap there for that race, but only second but champion, so you must be happy.
Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits. It's been a really, really good season, been really good fun. The championship's superb. Anyone who wants to have a go in something a little bit different than Thunderbolt UK is the way to go. Really, really good fun. That was a great scrap, as Phil just said. Great fun just to watch it for a little while, and I thought I'd better get involved in this, so couldn't quite catch the leader, but it was great fun, yeah.
Russ, we're normally used to seeing you winning in the Mini Twins, but victory here in the Thunderbikes.
Yeah, we were lent the bike by a guy called John Channels. He lent the bike to Team Zane for us to wheel it out this weekend and have a little ride on it, knock the dust off it. And I hadn't actually ridden the bike since 2000, when the bike was built by Baines Racing, and we raced two of them then. So it's the first time I'm on it this weekend. Really nice to ride the bike again. That's the first win that we've had on the Thunderbike. Unfortunately, I never got to meet Giles Fairclough, who was a great competitor in this particular championship, and I would like to dedicate that first win for us to Giles. I know he'll be greatly missed by all his mates here.
Yeah, I'm sure the rest of the paddock will agree with that one. Well done, Russ.
Okay, thanks very much. Cheers.
So as Jeff Matthews scampers for safety with the red flag, the second Thunderbike race was underway and settling into a fairly similar pattern to the first. In fact, a great battle up the top of things with the same constituent parts, really. Ross Joyner in there, Gary Budgeon, Simon Pato and Phil Reed. That's a great shot of that lovely virus in the late afternoon sunshine. But, Simon Pato got up ahead of Phil, and the win in the end going once again to Ross Joyner from Gary Budgeon. Simon Pato was third, Phil Reed fourth, James Hutchins in fifth, and good to see the number 39, Simon Baggett, finishing in sixth place in honour of Giles Fairclough. And there, Ross Joyner, Gary Budgeon and Simon Pato on the podium.
Simon Pato, third position on the rostrum in race 2. You must be happy with that.
Yeah, definitely happy with that. I mean, I very nearly got it in the first race too, just got pipped on the line, so really pleased. I mean, it's been difficult, been suffering a few injuries from about 7 or 8 weeks ago, broken hands and feet and whatever, but it's been a good season, you know. It's been tough for the last couple of races, Snetterton and here, and pleased to be up the front again. Thanks to all the boys, D&M Racing, HM Racing, the bike's been top notch. And just a quick word for Giles Fairclough and number 39. We all rode with his number, and we'll all miss him.
Well said, Simon. So the sun slips behind the trees here at Brands Hatch. That brings to an end the Bemsey MRO T3 Challenge season for 2008. And Viv Bennett there presenting a wonderful trophy to Peter Baker in memory of Vince Bennett. That's it for 2008. We look forward to seeing you again in 2009.